So first, I have to really apologize if this is being recorded, and I apologize to David and everyone here. I know you're really hoping to see a whole bunch of slides or a demo or something, and all I have is this. I can't remember what this is called. Oh, paper. All I have are these paper notes of some thoughts I jotted down. So you'll just have to bear with me there. But first, I'm not going to bore you with a background story. You all have LinkedIn. I have a very unique name. I'm sure you can figure out who I used to work for, who I'm going to work for, all of that. But I want to say that I'm not here representing any former employer of any kind or any future employer of any kind. So I'm just here as a tech dude or a data dude, as I've called myself for the last 15 years. I think based on our conversation, our pre-meeting, my role is tonight is to either worry you just a little bit, but hopefully empower you. Maybe a little of both, right? I will leave the inspire to the other presenters and to all of you. You should be inspired, but I also hope you feel worried enough to be curious and empowered enough to act for your own good and for the common good, right? And I want to give it up for David and Newman University. When he was going through that presentation, he approached me, I think it was like 2018, maybe, when I was a data analytics leader at a large corporation, and he said, "Hey, I'm new to town. What should people know when they want to come work for you or your company?" And 95%, other than the base foundation of Newman and what it's always been, didn't exist at that time. So really kudos to David and a lot of the people that have been involved. I can't credit who I stole this quote from because they didn't credit who they stole it from, which is typical. But really, for all of those of you that are worried that AI is going to take your job, for me, I think they said technology would remove unnecessary work. Now I have 60 passwords, 14 verification codes, and a robot asking me to prove I'm not a robot, right? So things exist. Times change. This is an exciting time if we utilize it right. I would ask, we only have just a limited time, so I would ask you to define AI, but there's 0% chance we can get to that answer by the end of the night, right? So AI can mean lots of different things. I sound like I'm 90 when I talk about some things, but I remember hearing stories of how my grandparents said in the 70s that when handheld calculators came out, kids will never know math. I'll ask you, if I give you a calculator and you don't know math, is it any good? You can punch buttons. You can get an answer, but is it the right one? You have no idea. If you are a skilled mathematician, the calculator is only going to get you so far, and then it's going to be like, no, I got to go more. In the 80s, Excel was an accountant killer. Show of hands, are there more accountants now or in the 80s? Right? I think the only thing more dangerous than an accountant with time on their hands is a data scientist that doesn't understand math, but basically, I believe that AI is better with knowledgeable people. And where I see a lot of companies making mistakes is when we talk about corporate taste or corporate culture, is it's great if you can upskill people faster, you can do all of these things. But who is going to be your subject matter expert 5 years from now or 10 years from now? And that's why I'm very supportive of what Newman's doing, right? People still need curiosity. They still need concepts. They still need communication. And then you can make AI, just like the calculator, do the boring stuff, right? I've worked in the corporate world. I see an extreme corporate danger with AI. What do most people, I read a buzzword in the Wall Street Journal, and we should do AI. Well, what's that mean? Well, let's automate everything. Well, is that artificial intelligence or is that automated ignorance? Right? Like if your process was bad before and you just automated it from your side, it's still bad for your customer. Right? Your customers don't value the process, they value the outcome. I could give you 700 bazillion examples. And looking at the room, very few of you even know what it was like to go to a Blockbuster video. But they had the opportunity to buy Netflix for pennies way back in the day. But Blockbuster believed that their customer enjoyed the process of driving 2 miles to the video store, picking out a VCR tape or a DVD, and taking it home and then coming back the next day. Now, the customer enjoyed hitting click. I bought it now, right? So we all have to think in those terms. If your process takes your customer 7 steps and all you did was automated it, your customer still is suffering through those 7 steps. Where I have seen AI, again, it depends on how you label it, be incredibly effective when we talk about corporate taste and culture. I worked in an industry where jobs are complex and situations are safe, but only if you know what you're doing. And jobs that take 10 years to go from entry level to, yes, you're the certified operator. Well, with the great retirement, not just the great resignation, but a lot of people are, I don't want to do that job anymore. We don't have 10 years of runway to train the next person. So how do we give, and I've been a part of projects like this, how do we give that subject matter expert of today the technology to be like, well, if I saw this problem, I would do this. And just like have a conversation, just like they would have with the new trainee, but then encapsulate that for all future trainees, right? And really speed up that process. My first experience with something similar was, you want to call it AI? It's partly AI. But VR at the Wichita State University Smart Factory, again, we had facilities where we're training people to pull up their semi-truck next to a hazardous material and take a hose, like you're filling up your gas tank, and plug it in to a truck. You have to do that. First, you have to watch 5 hours of videos before you're ever allowed to touch it. But then you have to do it, I think it was like 7 times supervised before you get to do it like 8 times video supervised, and then you're certified. I went to WSU, and with the VR technology, you can do it 100 times. If you blow the thing up, no one got hurt, right? You can just move it like you're moving in a factory. I was like, that's awesome, right? Like, what if I could gamify the experience to where you can do this process 100 times in a safe zone before you do it the first time in a potential danger zone? I also have seen a great example when you're talking corporate taste. My former employer was probably on the forefront here, but it's now become a thing with multiple companies. But at one point in my life, I was an executive coach, right? So you're in the C-suite, you call me, help me, I don't think the culture is working out on my team. I sit with you for 6 months, all of that. But that doesn't scale as your company grows. So how do you take maybe not every answer, but embed that into an AI, that corporate DNA of like, hey, I'm going to have a tough conversation with an employee today. Or, hey, here's the review I wrote about my employee. Can you respond as the employee and tell me what your takeaways are, right? Like that individual coaching, kind of like the Khan Academy model of like AI is not going to blow us up. It just means that every kid everywhere can have a tutor that they can't afford, right? If it was an in-person thing. So I think there's plenty of potential. So again, not here to worry you. I'm just here to throw some stuff out. The greatest example I've seen lately is IKEA. They automated 8,500 jobs. How many people did they lay off? 0. Because they automated jobs for a process customers needed and then upskilled those people to be something more valuable, to where they increased profit by $1.5 billion by retraining their employees to be consultants, not box pointers, right? Because the AI can do that. And my hope is that more companies approach things the same way, right? If I did see a danger to the technology world, the death of SaaS computing. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I've given, again, not someone that doesn't know math, a calculator, but someone that's a really good developer, access to Claude and other tools like that. And within a week's time, I've seen them churn out software that is 90% as efficient as things that I've spent $1 million implementing and a year's time. And we're talking about getting there in a week. So if you're a SaaS software company, I apologize. Might be some issues there, right? My biggest dangers that I'll leave you with is, I already mentioned, automate everything. Consider, is it automated intelligence or is it automated ignorance, right? Or artificial intelligence or automated ignorance. The one where I really see it, like I say, I've been doing AI before AI was cool because we just used to call it predictive analytics. AI and machine learning, deep learning like that is fantastic on machines, big complex operating facilities. All of these things, noticing patterns, doing what humans have always done, right? Just using history to help protect the future or predict the future and unlock some value that wasn't there before. Where AI has a lot of work to do, or maybe should never do, is the people process, right? Who do you hire? Who do you fire? It takes 60 years of work to remove bias from the workplace, and you reintroduce it because, well, we only hire people that look like you because you're successful, because you'll be successful because we have 5 other people that look like you, right? And when you drop the human factor, I think we're in trouble. And way back from the data analytics days, and this is, I think it applies just to data, AI as well, is the concept I've always kept in my mind. The analytics or the AI that I'm doing, is it annoying? Is it helpful? Is it educational? Or is it just plain creepy? Like, stay out of my stuff, right? My biggest concern is, and I already see it happening. It's happening all over the place. Happened to the internet. I can guarantee you Google worked better 15 years ago. When does AI stop not only giving you a confident answer, but not the right answer because someone else paid more for this answer? That will happen, and it is happening. So I encourage you all to keep the human factor. Let AI do the grunt work. Sure, all for it, but have the human in the loop in some way. Thank you very much for your time.
Tell us more about that IKEA example, because that's pretty interesting. So I looked it up because I can help myself. The chat bots replaced like 47% of chats, the conversations, so they upskilled 8,500 people. And what work did they have to do?
They became more like design consultants. Like, instead of, there's a problem with the website, I can't order that chair. They became, that problem is handled by the chatbot. But it's the call of, I've got this new room I'm setting up. What chair do you think would be best for me? Right? It's that more consulting. Now, AI can do that to an extent, but I'll argue with it too and say you're dumb. But
But they had how much more sales?
1.5 billion in profit, not sales. Yeah,
I mean, that's a great
that's real money, right? And I do think that's an important way you frame AI in any revolution that we've had, be it the industrial revolution. Oh, we don't need as many farmers. The automations, computing, all of those things. Even my own career, 25 years in technology, not a single job I have ever been paid well for exists today. They've all disappeared. I have had to transform myself so many times, but that's what we have to help and encourage people to do. I used to get paid pretty well to install and administer desktop phone systems. Who has a desktop phone or a home phone? No. Maybe like two. I don't know. No. Yes, sir.
Kind of comment on that. There's working with K-12 schools around the country. They are starting to catch on to this hunger for, well, what do we need to teach them about AI? There isn't a lot of knowledge around it. It's a hunger. Rob being, I think, an exception here in town, thankfully. But there is a desire to know, how do we teach our young people to go into this world? And I would say the thing that we're trying to amplify as much as possible is learn to change. Because change is going to happen rapidly, and it's going to happen at normal frequency.
Not just David, but multiple universities I've consulted with, because I was in a position where I was hiring and had people hiring under me, and they would always be like, "What technology should we teach our students?" I honestly have always said, I don't care, because by the time they're out of college, it might not exist, right? I wanted them to be taught curiosity, always ask why, right? I wanted them to be taught concepts, critical thinking, analytical thinking, math, science, and I wanted them to be taught communication. Because you're the best, you can be the best in the world, but if you can't tell the story to the decision maker, no decision ever happens. And I don't think that's changed, right? And you have to, even with the no PowerPoint slides, I could go on about how I used to have to build PowerPoints for executives because that was too hard. give my phone to my 17-year-old, and in a couple of seconds with AI, she can kick out a slide presentation. I mean, if you just want to see AI slop, it's easy, right? So I don't think it's that skill. I think it's the concepts. It's the critical thinking. Yeah. Yeah, not only has every job I've had disappeared, in the 25 years I've been in technology, other than the phones, I don't think one of them existed when I was in high school. There were no data analytics and AI leaders when I was in high school, right? So it wasn't something you could train me for. Yes, sir.
So on kind of the topic of like discernment and wisdom in this area, I think it kind of it hones in on this idea of defining what really matters. And you'd said, you know, that it's important to define what matters to your business. And then I'm guessing an imperative is derived from that. Define that first. Focus on that first, rather than just let's just see all the things we do with AI. Instead, say the imperative might be slow down and define what matters most to your business, and then ask the question, how can AI further this? But I also look at my industry, the software development industry, and I don't think that the answer of what work does matter to our industry has been answered very easily. It seems like that's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I'll go two ways. So we'll set the software industry aside for a second. Whether you want to call it data analytics, AI, predictive analytics, any of those things. From a business perspective, I've always been a big proponent of, I mean, I lived this life before 10 years ago when it was, everybody's got to do big data, right? Now it's AI, right? Sure, we have to do it if it leads to a business outcome. Does it fit our strategy? Does it fit our vision? Big fan of XYZ thinking. If I knew X, I would do Y, resulting in Z. Does Z have value? Okay. What would I need to know to do Y? Okay. How much does it cost to go find out that X? Good project, right? Instead of just data upon data. Software industry, like I mentioned with the SaaS stuff, I've seen amazing things kicked out. Where I really worry for corporations is that all works fantastic when you have the senior architect and the solutions architect and the people that made the mistakes looking over things. But if you eliminate all the junior staff because we don't need them anymore, it's all automated, I just step back, stop thinking about next year's or next quarter's profit, and think about 5 years from now. You know, who's going to be in that seat as your software developer manager? Another great thing, just like it can do with natural language, I've always said that I don't care what technology you know, just know the concepts because the rest is just syntax. AI is great for like, well, normally I'd write this in Python, but I need it in C#, right? Like just go port it this way, right? So there's opportunities there.
Don't you think mentoring is like a key aspect of
Mentoring?
mentoring? Like I think you have to have a lived experience in order to have wisdom, right? So
There's definitely a difference between knowledge and wisdom, right? And whether you get any value out of it tonight or not, I'm not paid to be here. This is me mentoring, right? Of like, these are things I've learned. And I totally agree with that point.
Well, let's make a transition, and then we're gonna have to discuss everything again at the end. I'd just like to give a plug in that context for registered educator, but the idea of delivering learning to people who are on the job, right, and need the concepts to support the on-the-job learning under mentorship, right?
And I will tell you that there's no greater joy for me when I'll run into someone and they're telling me about the promotion they just got or how things are going, and they just want to say, well, thanks for talking to me when I was coming out of college like 15 years ago. Thank you for spending a couple of hours a week, mentoring me. I want to keep encouraging that.